Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 5. I wanted to go over the contents of Module 5 with you because there's a lot of content in here and you don't need to spend a lot of time on some of it. So let's go over the overview. So here's what's going to happen this week. You're going to look at, you're going to complete your practicum designation. And I know a lot of you are freaking about that, and I will talk about that at the end of this. You have a discussions board, and you need to examine the resources for tools and evidence-based community population health. You can read chapter 7 and 13 and the case study at the back of the book on page 305. The case study will probably be the most important of that. And then there's a little YouTube on health literacy, and then there's there's a video on the determinant of health. I'm sorry, and I will go back and review these. So there, like I said, there's a lot of content, and I don't want to overwhelm you. I would look at this short video. You can skim this and realize that there are resources and tools in here for you to implement a plan. If you identify a community health plan or a problem and issue and you want to intervene, this is a plethora of information on that. Community health improvement, this is a web page and it just has a little fact sheet here. It's part of the CDC. You can look at this, but don't belabor it. This is where you're going to spend most of your time on this community guide, Find Community Program for Health Improvement. And there's a PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint explains the guide. I don't know that it's the most helpful. You may want to look at it, but I'll show you where the meat of this is. It's in the discussion question. And then we're going to go back, and here you have the trans-theoretical model of change. You will need to open this, go to this link, and it will talk to you about the 6 stages of behavior change. It's one of the things that I think we need to think about anytime we're planning a health intervention that involves behavior change for our patients. And if any of you have ever been on a diet, when you read the trans-theoretical behavior change, I think you'll see yourself very clearly in there, or at least I do. So after that, we'll go back to Module 5 and we'll talk about the discussion question. So here's your discussion question. And on this, you are going to access the Community Preventive Services Task Force findings at here. This used to be called the Community Guide What Works, but the link is broken, so I've looked, and this is what I've come up with. Right now, what they have, and I would, of course, you're going to search this. So think of an issue that you would like to address either in your practice or in your community. And what you go do here, let's say tobacco use, all right, internet-based cessation interventions. My computer's kind of slow, but you would go there, and this is going to give you a systematic review about, basically the full systematic review would be here, okay? And then I recommend going to the one-pager, tobacco use and secondhand smoke, interventions, and then you can go to the resource. And this will explain the program that they put together. And you can also see the community guide is very helpful, but there are also topics. This is just one idea here. Let me go back. And you also have community guide news, quit tobacco, new recommendations for internet-based interventions. And here you'll get the whole thing. All right, so in your discussion question, what you're going to do with this is when you get to this portion, and I'm going to go to discussions now, you're going to look at this and you're going to first think about a topic that either relates to a pertinent health issue in your practice or something that interests you, and review the ideas that's on this website right here. And share information on your chosen topic. Share with us why you chose the topic and summarize the information. Explain how this trans-theoretical model of change could be used to affect behavior change. All right? Okay, now let's go back to assignments. and we will look at what else you have due this week, and we'll talk about the practicum. So at the very bottom of the page, here we go. All right, the health issue and no, that's, yeah, I did that right. Okay, so this is something you're going to put together. So you have already done a windshield survey and you have looked at data. So basically, the community is your patient. You've assessed the patient by looking and taking the vital signs. That's the windshield survey. You've looked at their chart. That's the data. Now you're going to develop your nursing care plan. So you're going to probably see several issues in your community that you think should be addressed. Pick one, all right? And it's to be based on your findings from the county health rankings and the windshield survey, okay? So identify corresponding objectives from 2020 with the identified health issues. So let's say you're going to take obesity or mental illness. If you go to this website, there will be a ton of information on this. So assess the Community Guide Community Health Improvement Navigator, Healthy People 2020 Tools and Resources. Name and briefly describe at least 2 programs or interventions that could address or help prevent your identified health issue. So, and here are all the websites that you can go to. So submit via an attached file, 2 to 3 pages that identifies your chosen health issue, why you chose the issue, the 2020 objective that coordinates with the issue, and a brief description of at least 2 interventions that you found that addresses or helps prevent your identified issue. All right. So there's 5 points for the health issue, there's 5 points for the objective, and 5 points for your 2 evidence-based interventions. So, and when we get to 472, you will be doing a educational intervention with either a community group or somebody else, and this will be helpful to you. So this you will put together. It does not need to be an APA paper, but make sure you put your name on it, and just maybe a short title and 2 to 3 pages that identifies your chosen health issue. Now let's talk about practicums, all right, and Castle Branch. So part of what you needed to do this week was have everything ready to go for your practicum. And I know a lot of you are struggling with this. So I am working with Dr. Rena Garby to get other options for you. I know that some of you could work with health services to do contact tracing, but it is going to campus. They are also doing COVID testing a day, and you could get clinical hours for that. I know Washington County and Clinton County need contact tracers, so you could contact them. If you cannot submit something here for this week, please call me sometime this week. Monday and Tuesday mornings I have meetings and I won't be available, but I should be the rest of the time. So please send me an email. We can set up a time or reach out and I will work with you. And I've also been informing Dr. Rena Garby that we're going to need additional options. All right. Now, in addition to that, remember when you first came into the program, you had to do a Castle Branch. You had to go to Castle Branch and you had to show proof of immunizations and take a HIPAA test and all of that. We need the last form, you need to print out the last portion of that and send it to me showing that you have completed your Castle Branch. I will put up another announcement with those instructions, but I wanted to get the welcome to you so you could get started on week 5 at this point. You're in the home stretch here, kids. So call me if you need me. Thank you.